Having the right software for your gym can mean the difference between feeling overwhelmed and having the perfect digital assistant. This week, we're interviewing gym owner Leon Bilo, who's the owner of Be Fit Fitness in South Shore, Boston, a highly competitive market. Leon is going to share with us exactly what to look for when picking out the perfect software for your gym. Leon, thanks for so much for taking the time, buddy. I always love talking to you. You've always got great insight as a gym owner and as an avid Naamly user. Today, I wanted to get an idea of using just in general using software as a digital assistant. Oftentimes, when gym owners are looking for help, they don't know where to look for help. They don't know who the first person is they need to hire. They don't know, what do I do? I just can't seem to manage all of it. When oftentimes just a digital assistant can help with that job. At what point did you realize as a gym owner that it was time to get some kind of digital help?
Well, thanks, Elias. First off, honestly, like from day one, I probably knew it. I would say initially when I started, just looking back 8, 9 years ago, getting leads in and tracking people and conversations and communications with clients. Like I remember having pieces of paper with everybody's name and check marks next to them and things like that. And I'd leave it in my backpack, and then I would be in a different location and I want to work on it. And I didn't have the information at my fingertips the way I would have liked to. And then over the years, like that evolved to Excel sheets and shared drives and all of that kind of stuff. And the challenge was always, where did I put it? Even in the cloud, there's, between Google Cloud and iCloud and all this stuff, it's like it could be in 5 different places. So knowing, like, having stuff easy to get to boils down to like the efficiency of it. So I don't know. I think day one.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point. Is I actually love that it was day one, because so oftentimes we do things reactionary. We're like, oh crap, I'm in a jam, I need to solve that problem, as opposed to, okay, right out of the gate, I can see what's going to happen and I want to have a solution in place as quickly as possible. I think that's pretty powerful. What you mentioned, like, working on client lists and communication with your clients and tracking leads. What did you need a digital assistant to do? So when you went out looking for, okay, I need something to support the business that I have, what was your checklist? What did your checklist look like? What did you need it to do?
Yeah. So again, like in most cases, whether it was a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, it's very linear, right? You always had the name on the top, the name on the bottom. I would think about it in terms of, for me, how do I get the radar that says this is the most important person to talk to right now, right? And when you think about intelligence from a digital assistant or whatnot, that's what I'm looking for. That says, this is the person that's communicated to you last. This is the person that's got a pending question. This is a person you said you were going to follow up with them on Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and it's 11:59, and you're like, who the hell was I going to talk to?
Yeah.
So that's the way I've always kind of thought about, is like the radar system, and how can we build in that intelligence of hitting the hottest person at the right time and getting as close to the mark as possible every time.
That's an outstanding analogy as a radar system. So nothing. So you kind of have your eyes on everything, because you can't watch everything as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Like, you're just wearing so many hats. So having that,
Yeah.
so nobody falls through that's the worst feeling, right? When you have a client fall through the cracks, or somebody you said you were going to talk to and then you didn't talk to. Like, that just always feels awful. And then you feel awkward trying to reach out or talk or whatever the case may be. But if you got something reminding you ahead of time, hey, don't forget, you've got this, you've got that, you've got this going on. That makes perfect sense. How has it helped you? So having that radar system active, how has that helped you essentially run the business? What does that look like from a structure point of view? So you've got this radar that's making sure that nobody falls through the cracks. How do we get that where, what does that save you essentially? What does that save you in having and making sure that all that is taken care of for you and you get reminded?
Yeah. Well, I think the most frustrating part is knowing that your list keeps getting longer. And that's a champagne problem, right?
Mm.
Like you want to keep adding leads, keep adding leads.
Champagne
And
problem. That's a quotable for sure. But yeah,
right.
I know what you mean.
But at the same time, you've got more to deal with and more to deal with and more to deal with, right? So you never want to forget a contact that still wants to be contacted by you, but you also want to be able to, again, like bring to the top the people that are ready to have that conversation sooner rather than later. And the just running the gym, managing a staff, making sure your existing clients are happy while also trying to bring in new clients. It's really, for me, it's about time blocking, and I know I've got a certain amount of time available to follow up with leads. So knowing that I'm hitting the top 10 or 25 in that time block is much more satisfying than just hitting a random 10 or 25. In both cases, I checked the box, I got it done. But in one case, I got the more prime people done, if that makes sense. So I'm just
Yeah,
more
I have a
effective, more
question. So
efficient.
so we don't have to keep it like a secret. This is the Naamly channel, so I know you're a Naamly user, right? And a
Yeah.
really a Naamly power user. What is that feature so what does Naamly do that lets you know this is the most important person to talk to? So tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's a combination between like the new sales module for specifically for leads,
Mhm.
in that I can very quickly prioritize them by using tasks and setting up follow-up dates and things like that. So they just automatically pop up. So when I do have that time block, I know that these are the 10 people I want to talk to today. And
Okay.
it's all baked in. And right from that task, I can send a text message, I can send an email, I can pick up the phone
Right
and call
inside the
them.
software.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I don't like I can obviously keep a different task list
Mm.
in Google or whatever, but then I have to go back and pick up my phone and do all of that stuff and then write my notes and can go on, put it all together. So by having it all within Nomly, all within that tool, it's just again, it's more about the efficiency of being able to go through those tasks and get them done so that I can move on to managing my staff and managing my existing members and those types of things. It just allows me that time, because as I think back, Elias, like when it was just the long list, and I would look at a list of 100, right, and knowing that I only had time to get to 10.
Mhm.
So sometimes it was just good enough to get to 10 and check the box, right? But I always kind of left that situation dissatisfied, knowing that, shoot, there was that other person I needed to get back to, right? So I think that's one of the things that I've gotten better at, utilizing Nomly for that.
Well, and you've mentioned your staff a couple of times. So I sounds like your staff utilizes software, or you utilize the software to support your staff as well. How are they integrated with using Nomly as a digital assistant?
Yeah, so actually, it's one of my favorite aspects of Nomly that I've enjoyed, because I've used other systems and
Hmm.
I've had my staff use other systems to communicate with clients and things like that. In some cases, it was completely siloed so that I wouldn't, as a manager, be able to see what those communications were. I wasn't
Oh,
able to jump into a conversation, right? But with Nomly, it does a really great job of allowing me to establish which contacts are assigned to which coaches. So if I do have an on the floor conversation with a client that is assigned to a coach, I can very quickly put my notes in there. I can tag them like a digital post-it note for them, as opposed to sticking it on their computer or their workstation, so that when they do come in for their shift, they're going to see, oh, Miss Jones had this conversation with Leon, and here's what's going on,
hmm.
right? So it's helped us as a team better communicate, not just with our clients, but with each other in that process. So
That's a
and it's
really
just not, it's not just manager to staff, it's staff to staff as well. So
well. There's a tremendous amount of power. Like one of the things that I think gets left out of gyms, of what gyms don't see that the prospect notices. If the prospect feels like you're passing the football well, amongst the team, that if I talk to each staff member, I get the same story, I get the same answer. Or if I tell you something, but my coach will come up and talk about my goals as if they were the ones that asked me about my goals. When you feel like the people taking care of you are all on the same team and all communicating well, that leads to high value, like a high value gym, high value coaching, high value program. Is simply everybody on the same page when it comes to communicating. If you feel like the whole team knows you and knows what you need, I think that leans towards a more premium product.
Yeah. And it's happened. Like there have been multiple cases where, a coach will talk to a client about their goal and they'll tag me on it. And then, we'll tag team that conversation. So in a future training situation, it's like, hey, I understand you were really trying to work on your push-ups, and Kim and I were just talking about that, and that's a great goal. I've noticed your form improving, that type of thing. Like that personalization, and again, in especially today's world with all the online training and things like they're not going to get that from technology. They're going to get that from an intimate training situation and solution. So the better that we communicate as a team about our clients and about their goals, the better we're going to be able to stay in business and help people live better lives. And that's really what this is about.
Yeah. You're right. Helping. How are we helping people live better lives? And probably part of that is just having a well-functioning team, a well-functioning facility, a well-functioning place that communicates well and does well, so you can better serve your clients. And so with that in mind, tell me more about how, like, what do you use in Naamly to like improve client engagement? How are your clients benefiting from having this digital assistant? I know texting is a part of it. I know email is a part of it. What would you say is the biggest benefits or rather, what feature benefits your clients best when it comes to using this?
I think partly what we already talked about. I think just the fact that the conversation can happen and they don't have to repeat themselves with the next time they have a conversation, right? If we're doing our job right and we're having meaningful interactions with our client and documenting those things, if I have that follow-up appointment with somebody, I don't have to spend half that appointment of having them re-explain what their story is, what their goals are. I mean, obviously you want to do that from a connection perspective, but at the same time, it's okay. So let's pick up where the team left off the last time and move forward from that. So I think that's certainly part of it. And again, I think the other thing too is like I've got part-time staff. So if I have somebody who's not going to be on for 2 or 3 days, I don't want a client posting a message to that person and having to wait 3 days to get a response. So again, they're working with a business that cares and supports them as a member, not a trainer to client relationship, which just as a whole helps my gym differentiate and grow almost irregardless of the person or the coaches, if you will.
That's a good point. It sounds like you guys put a tremendous amount of effort into organic conversation where you're talking to people face to face, either on the phone or in the gym. Do you blend Naamly's automation in with that? Do you utilize automation as well? Automation and organic? Do you is that part of it as well? Or do you try to keep things as organic as possible? What does that look like on your side?
Yeah, I mean, we utilize from an automation perspective, probably more internally for our communications. So by creating reminders and tasks and things like that, just to make sure that they don't fall through the gaps. There's certainly tools available, and we do deploy them in terms of campaigns for sending out text messages and emails and things like that. And then some cases that works really well when it's generic information, general knowledge about the studio or updates and things like that. But I think when it comes down to personalizing the message, that makes such a big difference. Like, I remember one time I had a coach that was like group sending text messages. Hey, great job. You did awesome. and a person posted on Facebook, it's like, oh, my coach is great. Look what the text they sent me. And somebody else like, yeah, he sent me the same exact one. It's like, that's where the automation falls flat, right? Because now that really great client experience, I feel special was like, pop the balloon because you just got, robocalled basically, so we use automation where it makes sense to keep us in line in that communication, but fine tuning those things as well. So making sure that whatever conversation we do, like if we send a text message, to really relate it to an experience that happened that day on the floor. Like, Mrs. Jones, those push-ups today were awesome. I didn't think you were going to get that 11th one, but you pushed it out.
Yeah,
right?
real specific. Real specific.
Yeah, there's no way you can do that en masse.
Yeah.
But what
Well,
I
I
can
suppose
do,
if the digital software, the digital assistant is doing so many of the other things for you that
right,
will actually open up the time to be more specific with messaging and communication.
right. And so like the untouched report's a great example of that in Naamly, because within that, like red light, green light stuff, it's going to tell me, hey, these 15 people that are assigned to this coach, these 5 people have been interacted with, these 5 people have not, so I can have that conversation with my coach of, hey, your goal, your objective is to make sure you reach out, that you're making that personalized contact at least once a week. So let's turn all those lights green by the time we get to Friday, right? So again, that's a tool that my staff can use, and then I can use as a manager for oversight, but also to coach them on how to build that relationship for a long-term process.
Yeah. Leon, I've got one more question for you, man.
Yeah.
That is, if there's a gym owner who's feeling, or a coach is feeling like overwhelmed with so much going on, and they realize they need help and they're looking for a digital assistant, in your mind, what do you think the number one thing is that they should look for when it comes to using software as a digital assistant? Like, it's got to be able to do this one thing. What do you think that is?
So as a gym owner, for me, is being able to operate as a team in your communication with your clients and being able to pull that all up together. The more efficiently a software does that, the easier your life becomes, because it is a member of a team in that aspect, because like any assistant, it keeps everybody at the table at the same time with their agenda, so to speak, so that we know what we're talking about, how we're speaking, and those types of things. So
Perfect. Leon, thanks so much for your time, man. I'm looking forward to the next time we get to chat, and we'll definitely see you for the next one. Take care, buddy.
yeah. All right. Thanks, Elias.
So, do we think Naamly makes the best digital assistant? Yeah, that's why we built it. And we got help from gym owners just like you. So if you want a free demo, click the link below and we'll show you exactly how Naamly can save you time, money, and frustration. And for more content like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and smash that bell for alerts.